Welcome back to the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, aka Loudini, and in the co-pilot's chair today we've got Mr. Keith Hawkins.
What is up, people? What is going on? Lou, I missed you last week. It was a week off, but you know we're back now, and we're going to talk about rockin' movies, man. So this should be a good one. So
there are some,
pipe in.
Yeah, jump in, guys. You guys chimed in on Facebook this week, and we did really appreciate that. So we're going to be hitting some of your favorites a little bit later on, but we have lists, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we arrived at the lists. But so if you're thinking about this and you want to jump in, I'll just tell you now, it must be, it has to be like a real movie that had a theatrical release. Okay. It has to be about a band or an artist. They can be fictional, or it can be like real band. It got to be more than a concert film. Concert footage is fine. There's some concert stuff in it mixed in is fine, but we're kind of staying away from like The Last Waltz or Song Remains the Same. Those movies that are like more concert driven, and it's got to be a good film. There are tons of.
I want to see some acting chops. Some. I mean, even some on my list. The acting's not great, but I mean, they're still...
Well, that, and if you did pick a documentary, and documentaries are fine, they have to be like a legitimate documentary. There's all these documentaries out there where they don't have they don't actually interview any of the bands, right? They're talking about, and they don't have any music licensed or anything like that. So those are like cheesemo jobs. That doesn't count. So we're going to talk about what we liked and what you guys liked, and it's going to be a good time. So, but first, I think what we're going to do is jump right in, and we're going to play a band. Which band should we play? Let's play this band. This is a band called Black Widow. No, this is a band called Hard Riot. I'm sorry. The song is called Black Widow. And check this out, guys. I think this is a pretty good jam. Hard Riot, Black Widow on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. I'm not loose. I'm like tight, you know, like. This club's done up. I'm like thirsty, so I want something a little more than that. You get 10? You got more than 10. Yeah, I have a bunch of like honorable men. I think I'm like top 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep them like, you know, to the 10 list, but in no particular order as the ones I like, you know.
I kind of try to put mine in a bit of an order.
Really?
Yeah, so.
That's hard to do for me, but you know. I mean, I definitely have a top 3 that are in order. The rest of them are kind of just like, I like them for one reason or another.
No, it's too late. When the black widows, there is no escape. Passing by, you got them higher and they're trying to
What are you doing tonight? Anything?
one look, you're gone. You can resist, you know it's wrong. Down with you, she
I went on last
stops.
night.
Roll left you everything back behind, she's taking your soul. Oh yeah.
Did you play a gig with, what's his name yet? We're not coming out to Georgetown.
15th. July 15th.
Oh, July.
Yeah. We're going to rehearse tomorrow for that. We rehearsed every week so far until last week. We couldn't get together last week, but other than that,
Turn the mics on there a second. Michelle Wade is watching. Hi, Michelle. Whoa, fast ending there. How about that?
very abrupt.
Yeah, very abrupt. Not good for us slow-minded DJs here. That is the band Hard Riot. And let me go ahead and give you guys a little Hard Riot info there. You can get Hard Riot at hard-riot.com. Great rock band. I mean, what can you say about that? They are not from this. I was going to say they're out of this world. They're not from the. They are not from the U.S. And I will get you some more information on that in a few minutes. But check them out. Hard-riot.com. That's the track Black Widow off of Living on a Fast Lane.
What?
Not living in a fast lane. Living on a fast lane. Just to make sure the guys we have that correct. Okay. But so rock and movies have like gone together since the beginning. I mean, there's actually a film from the 1956, Rock Around the Clock. Bill Haley, starring Bill Haley from Bill Haley in the Comets. So rock and movies, and all the Elvis films that were out there, I'm of a little, slightly more contemporary generation than that. So my picks don't really include any of that, per se. Although Keith and I both have a lot of, honorable mentions that we're probably going to be talking about as well.
Narrowing it down to 10 was really hard. That's really, really difficult. So.
Before we get into our top 10s, why don't you tell us one that is on your honorable mention list?
The honorable mention list?
Yeah, one that didn't quite make your list, but...
One that I kind of had a hard time with on my top 10, but I think it was on your list too, was the Doors movie with Val Kilmer.
Okay.
I'm not a big Doors fan, so I probably, took a little time for that movie to grow on me. But when I watched it several times, I thought it was good. I mean, after I, watched it probably at least 3 times, but I think I've only seen it maybe, a handful of times in my life. But once I watched it, but the third time that I seen it, I was like, all right, this is cool. It's, it's not really, the music's not all my bag, but it's, it's well acted, and it's, it gets into some detail about their career, Morrison being a total lunatic at times, and just, some of the stuff that, the funny thing with me is, remember some of the lines in the movie? Kevin Dillon playing John Densmore, and he says some funny stuff in the movie that I guess drummers just only pick up on.
Yeah.
Like he'll say some things like they were doing like jamming to what would become Light My Fire, and he's like listening to it, and he's like criticizing. He's like, it kind of sounds like the Byrds, man. But he's like, you know what? I'll put a little Latin beat to it, and that'll do it some justice. It's just funny because he's like just thinking not only the song, but how he can like make the song good by putting like a Latin groove to it. So that's the kind of thing where those kind of things stick out to me, where the research for the movie was done, because Densmore is kind of like that. He's very like technical.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah. He's very jazz influenced, and he knows like a lot about genres and just different styles and things. So it's like it doesn't surprise me that Kevin Dillon will put in the work, or have some help with researching that the actual how these guys really were. So.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a cool movie, but it didn't crack my top 10.
Top 10. Okay.
But it's a good movie though.
Let me. This is from the people that are in my inner circle. Jeremy Groves chimed in with heavy metal, American pop, and Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny. Raven Dodson says, what about Maximum Overdrive? Bill Hathaway says, The Devil and Daniel Johnston. Do you know that? That's a cool...
I've never seen it on. Bill always comes up with some
that
stuff.
That is a very cool...
Because
I believe it's still on Net. It was on Netflix for a long time.
I'll have to check that out. Bill always comes up with good stuff, though, because it's, every time I see him post, I always read his post first.
Searching for Sugar Man, Not Dead Yet. Not Dead Yet is the Jason Becker story. You remember who Jason Becker was?
The guitar player,
Yeah,
right?
the guitar player, yes. A very accomplished guitar player who ended up getting Lou Gehrig's. Mike Elp says Airheads, a heavy metal, and any Jack Black movie. David Espinoza says School of Rock, Jack Black, Wayne's World, Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, and Erica Mock, Pink Floyd, The Wall, heavy metal. Now, let me tell you guys a little bit about the criteria. Now, we're going to do another podcast down the road on movies where the music was so integral to the story or the style of the movie that if you took the music away, the movie would suck.
The movie would suck.
Yeah, and I believe that heavy metal, Wayne's World, those are those kind of movies. Singles is another movie that I almost wanted to put on my list because it broke grunge in a lot of ways. But it really is not a movie about... I know Matt Dillon plays a guy in a band in the movie, but that isn't really the sort of whole idea of the movie. So while I love all those movies, and we'll do something else down the road on that, that's really not what we're doing, but I love the thoughts and the chiming in on everything. Let me go ahead and give you one of my honorable mentions. One or two, maybe. One of those movies I wanted to put on here is a little-known movie, and I'm going to preach about it because I think everybody should know about this movie. If you are any kind of if you're into singer-songwriter, if you're into Bob Dylan at all, you need to see the movie. And even if you're not, it's a cool movie. It's called I'm Not There. You've ever heard about this movie, Keith?
I have not.
It's a movie, it's like an anthology film with different stories about Bob Dylan, and different actors play Bob Dylan, including... Now this is my favorite part of the movie.
You're about to blow our minds, huh?
Kate Blanchett
plays Bob Dylan?
Yes, plays Bob Dylan. Yes, in a segment of the movie. It's very cool, very very awesome, very 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 awesome. There's a funny line in the movie where somebody asks Dylan, "Well, what do you think of the Rolling Stones?" He goes, "Oh, do you mean that cover band?"
Oh man, that's a little harsh.
Yeah, a little harsh. Those guys all became friends later, but if you've not seen it, I highly recommend that you check it out. I think another movie that probably may have made my list, but this movie is nowhere to be found. You cannot find it. You can watch it on YouTube, but they've never released it on Blu-ray. They never remastered the audio or the video. They never put it on DVD. And that is Light of Day with Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox. It's a cool film. It's not brilliant, but it's a cool film about a band working hard, having problems.
Aaron Cleveland.
I mean, it's a total down-to-earth kind of story. And Joan freaking Jett is in it. And you know what?
I know that one.
I don't know if you remember, but she's actually better than Michael J. Fox in the movie.
He's not really good at all in
He's
that
not.
movie.
He's not as convincing, but
No.
she is like very, very good. She's very natural on camera.
He's kind of playing probably how she might have been.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So those are a couple of films that I really liked, but didn't quite make my list. We're going to get into our lists in a little bit. I'm going to throw a couple more. We're going to play another band here in a second, but I want to go. We had some other people. Bill Mullins chimed in with a few here. Let's hear what he says. He says, Still Crazy, Spinal Tap, and Rockstar. Honorable mention is Rock My World, which I do not know. Sean Taylor says Spinal Tap, Eddie and the Cruisers, Phantom of Paradise, Hedwig and the Angry Itch, which almost made my list.
Yeah.
The reason Hedwig did not, I know a lot about this movie, but I've actually never seen it, so I felt kind of weird putting it on my list, not actually having seen it. It might, next year when we do this again, it might be the number one for me. Jason McGraw says Spinal Tap, Wayne's World. Yes, it's a rock movie. Airheads. Matt Cook says Standing at the Crossroads. Do you know? I don't know what that. Maybe he's talking about Crossroads.
Crossroads is a cool movie.
Crossroads
if you
is
mean
cool.
Crossroads
You know what,
with,
dude?
with the Karate Kid and the big Jack Butler,
I
aka Steve Vai, that's a
complete-
kick-ass movie. I forgot about that.
And
one,
that
too.
I totally forgot about because it is a good. That
She's
should be
cutting
on.
heads
Yeah,
down
that's
there
a
tonight with
great.
big Jack Butler.
Jack Butler cutting
We cutting heads
Friday
tonight.
night with Jack Butler. And we've got Alonzo Fretwell. Fretwell, are you a guitar player? Spinal. Everybody's a lot of people. Spinal. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. This is another movie. See, I wanted to put this on. Let me ask you a question about this.
Okay.
Because technically, the story is about the band Wild Stallion and why Rufus needs to save them so that they can make their music and like generate peace and harmony throughout the universe. Does it really fit? Does it fit our criteria or not? I don't know.
Here's my criteria for this movie, and any movie that has anything to do with Keanu Reeves or has him in it, he sucks out loud as an actor. And so any movie with Keanu Reeves in it, I would not ever pay. You could buy the ticket and take me to the freaking movie and buy me a meal. He's
Wow,
that
you don't like
bad.
you don't like
he
The
blows,
Matrix?
man. He blows, dude.
You don't like The
Seriously.
Matrix?
No, he sucks out loud. Seriously.
Wow. So
If you're watching,
there
I'm
you
sorry,
have it.
Keanu, but that's just the way I feel.
I really like Wayne's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and I'm not as hard on Keanu Reeves as
No, he's horrible.
this guy over here.
Jesus.
We got some Mike Candelaria. Mike Candelaria says
What
Rock
about- no, that's
Rock
not-
of Ages. What's Rock of Ages?
It's like a comedy, sort of. You know, I've never seen the whole thing, so I really can't. It's got a ton of people in it, though. A ton of people. Like every star in Hollywood, I think, made at least a cameo in that movie.
He has that heavy metal School of Rock. Bill Wingand, Spinal Tap.
Should we actually just take that off the list due to the fact that it's going to be on everybody's list? It's just an iconic film, man. It is just.
Heavy metal. Nirab Sayek says heavy metal. Maximum Overdrive again. Spinal Tap. The animated Tim Klosterman. Heavy metal. Peter Littman. Singing in the Rain. My Fair Lady and Sound of Music.
Well, there you go. That's a little bit different.
Thanks, Peter. You made my day with that one. Shane Field says this one goes to. I don't know what that means. Dana Richling, scenes from the Gold Mine, Eddie and the Cruisers, and Eddie. Remember Eddie too? Eddie Lives. I own them both. I own them both on DVD. Rockstar.
I've seen Eddie and the Cruisers. I've never seen the second one. So
Ben Lagos, who's chimed in several times for us. Quadrophenia, which I don't have on my list. I should. Trick or Treat. Is Trick or Treat? I gotta look this up. I don't know this.
Trick or Treat is one of those movies that is very poorly acted. Gene Simmons is in it, and the dude who played like Skippy from Family Ties is in it.
Really?
I don't even know his name, but I remember watching this movie as a kid, and the only thing that was cool about the movie is that you were talking before about if you take the music out of a movie, it's going to just be that's one of the
that's one that's that fits into that category.
The entire soundtrack is done by Fastway, if you remember,
Oh yeah, Say What You Will. Love that song.
And they have like a very sort of straight ahead, like almost AC/DC with a different vocal style. But I mean that real straight ahead kind of rock and roll style. If you took the soundtrack out of that movie, forget about it.
There's okay. So there's some. I'm going to run through these. We're going to come back to you guys. We left off with Ben. Christopher Adams says the song remains. Like I said, we're not getting into these type. And I think that I think Tommy's a great film, but it isn't really about a band. It's got great music in
Too
it.
trippy, yeah.
But it's not really about a band. You know, Tommy, he's a pinball wizard.
He is a pinball
So we're gonna get back to this in a minute. Let's play another band. This is a band. Keith, I don't believe you've heard these guys yet. I like this band a lot, and
the
they
Union?
have not put out anything since 2013. Shame on you. They're called the Union, and these guys are like kind of like if the Black Crowes came out today, kind of like what they might be doing. Very cool band, but check them out. This is a little sort of like they do an acoustic thing into like a rockin' thing. Sawtooth Mountain Ride goes into You're My Jesus. The Union from the album The World Is Yours on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. This is a cool jam, dude.
I like it already. You ready?
What are you doing? I'm good.
You good? Tell my dentist thing today.
You go for it. You dent all the way, dude.
Just getting them
You
kind
can hang out after if you want to. You have nothing to do. I'm supposed to get together with somebody and work out. I'm supposed to do something like that. Plan something.
It happens, man. You gotta watch. It's a female. They'll do that shit together. That fancy girl. Freaking Maximum Overdrive is good.
Well, it's a good ACDC. I think it's when we talk about like that's what it's movie. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
It's terrible. But the fact that ACDC is really makes it kind of like
That makes it.
that's kind of cool.
That makes it make sense. Say a single is better than that.
Well, single is actually really good.
Yeah. Sounds a little bit like a sound garden.
His voice does sound a little Chris Cornell, yeah.
Very Chris Cornell, but
Somebody chimed in with something I know about.
well, I got bought him when they sent me sharing the video.
Thank you for sharing the video, man. I really appreciate it. The more sharing is like freaking awesome. So thank you so much. Sazebo, I'm sorry, that's a little tough name for us to pronounce. He was involved in a guitar contest, and I shared his stuff around. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I see. My thing with him is like in every movie, I see a little bit of Ted.
Yeah, he's a dumbass.
There's always a little bit of that in there. Like even in The Matrix, you know, and all his movies, I see like a little bit of Ted. John Wick, I like this one. I know you don't like counters, but I think John Wick. I like him. You might not like him. You won't like him because Keanu's in it. So that's good. Everybody's got to like the same thing. It's just like. You're my Jesus.
You're my Jesus, man.
Keith, you my Jesus. You my Jesus. This man my Jesus right here. Okay, I got to turn the microphones back on so we have to behave ourselves.
Yeah.
Who's my Jesus? You my Jesus. Say you my Jesus.
I'm your Jesus. Praise the Lord. Can I get an amen up in here?
That is a band. That is the Union, and you can go to theuniononline.com. Shame on you guys. You need to put out a new record. You haven't put out records since 2013. Darn it! What the hell's matter with you?
Studio time is expensive.
Exactly. Something I wanted to mention at the beginning of the podcast, and could you give me a minute here, Keith? I just want to. I got to say something because
I don't know if you know this or not, but it's the Loudini hard rock metal show. You can talk as long as you want, man. I'm just here for the ride.
I need to say something on a serious note. For the past 3 years, we've been sponsored by Positively Pittsburgh Live magazine, pplmag.com. The future of pplmag.com, Positively Pittsburgh Live magazine, is it's in a little bit of, we're not sure. It's in a little bit of limbo right now because very sad news. The owner of that, Joanne Quinn Smith, passed away last week, and Joanna was my mentor and very close friend. There would be no Loudini hard rock and metal circus without Joanne Quinn Smith. She just was like kicking me in the butt. You got to do a podcast. 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 Do a podcast. And so it's very sad for me. It was like really heartbreaking. I lost two very close people. People were very close to me. I lost two people within like about 3 weeks of each other. But Joanne was a really unique person, wonderful person, and so we're the future of Positively Pittsburgh Live magazine. We aren't really sure what's happening with it yet. So if you guys want to check it out and you want to patronize them, it's pplmag.com. Check them out. But I would just want to sort of dedicate the rest of the podcast here to Joanne because, like I said, without her, man, there's no way that I wouldn't even know what a podcast was. I wouldn't even doing it. So she turned me on to the whole idea, and I got bit by the bug and started having a good time. So that's where we are. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that to everybody out there, what's going on with that, and that's where we are.
Throw condolences out to her family too.
Condolences to the family, and here's to a really, really wonderful person. Rest in peace.
Exactly.
Dean Sprinkle says, what about Crossroads, Almost Famous, and Rockstar? We're getting a lot of the thing. Woodstock.
A lot of the same stuff.
See, Woodstock, again, is more of a concert film. Now, I didn't specify that, though, in this post. Heavy Metal 1 and 2. I'm sorry, Joshua. Joshua Gassi wrote that. Racine Evans says, again, Spinal Tap and Bill and Ted. But I'm sorry. I think Heavy Metal 2 is one that it was a really huge disappointment. The first Heavy Metal has all those great Saturday Night Live actors doing the voices. It's funny. It's dirty. It's
movie
really good.
made my top 10, and there's a story behind it, too.
It's a great movie, but
I guess I'll say that.
But Heavy Metal 2, but they're not really movies about bands. The music is really important, but they're not really music. But that aside, Heavy Metal 2, do not like. Eddie and the Cruisers, Brian Key says Eddie and the Cruisers. Harlow Holmes, again, more Eddie and the Cruisers. Ronald Blade, Detroit Rock City. Detroit Rock City. That's a cool film. Again, not really about a band, but that's about a bunch of kids going on, taking a trip.
Trying to get in a Kiss
concert. Get into a Kiss concert.
Which I'm sure I've done in my life.
Matt Wilson, thank you for chiming in. Ed Spearbaugh. Suburbia, is that? I have no idea. Yeah. Ronald Blade, Chris McCartney, Arthur Graves, Jason Simon, Kurt Kugel. Jason Simon puts Live at Pompeii. Great concert film. When we do a show on concert films, that might be on the list of the top 10 of all time. Yeah. Jason Palmer, Purple Rain, which absolutely fits.
That made my top 10. I was for reason beyond the acting, which was probably not real good in that movie. But since I'm such a huge Prince fan, and he's probably just the most genius musician I've ever heard, he just had to make the top 10. Sorry, man.
So I want to thank BMI songwriter Malika Joe Petria for chiming in, and Kevin Murphy as well. Joseph Urich.
We don't know that one, Joe.
I know what that is. That's a reference to Spinal. That's a joke for the movie. This is Spinal Tap. Shark Sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah, remember?
It was
a 2-word review.
Yeah.
Shit sandwich.
Yeah. Spinal Tap's great though, man.
But anyway, so let's get into our lists, dude. So I'm embarrassed because
I'm going to start. if you don't mind me jumping line.
You jump in, and I will.
This is in no particular order, but I'm going to put one out there that no one had on their list. This movie is about the early days of rock and roll, which rock and roll wasn't even thought of. And it's a really well-acted movie with some really good actors and actresses in it. Cadillac Records is an amazing movie.
You suck, dude. I totally forgot about that movie.
Kicks
that is a great movie.
From start to finish. It starts out with the blues scene in the beginning of like I'm talking Muddy Waters going
it's
back.
Great.
To,
No,
like
it's a great film.
Yeah, it's an
really
amazing
well
movie.
made. And Beyonce,
she's killing. She's really good.
She sings out of James.
When she does that last in that movie, if you don't get a goosebump, and I don't care if you like that kind of music or not. When you hear her sing "At Last" in the recording studio, and those studios, and all those studio scenes, I'm like, yes, she's killing that.
No, it's a great movie.
It shows Muddy Waters in his heyday. It shows what goes on to be, because that is where rock and roll came from, people. Sorry. And it shows Howling Wolf. It shows the beginning, the infancy of
I totally put it in there, yeah.
Chuck Berry bringing rock and roll to, like, all of a sudden, in one part, Adrian Brody was like, yes, I'm going to, because remember, I think it was Cedric the Entertainer, of all people, was playing Willie Dixon.
That's right.
And he was like, yes, I'm going to try to blues him up a little bit. He's like, I don't want you to blues him up, Willie. I don't know what this is, but it's different.
And
it was rock and roll.
Yeah, it was the beginnings.
Yeah, that movie is killing. Like I said, I don't have this in any particular order, but that movie I didn't see on anybody's list, and it should be out there. Cadillac Records. You could probably find the friggin' DVD for $5 in a bin somewhere.
It was on Netflix, guys, for a long time.
It's an amazing
it might
flick. Watch Cadillac Records. It just it just shows you the early days of rock, where that's all that came from. So Cadillac Records is definitely on my top 10 of all time list.
Go ahead. Run them down. You're on a roll, Keith. I'm not going to stop you.
That Thing You Do is on my list too. That Thing You Do is just a cool movie. Tom Hanks directed. It has some really very good interplay between all the actors. Steve Zahn's always really funny in kind of a cornball kind of way.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool being from.
It's on my honorable mention.
Yeah, the band's from Erie. They can barely play, really. I mean, they're not really that good. I mean, it's just they were doing a talent show. Their drummer breaks his arm trying to jump over a freaking a parking meter, and he falls down, breaks his arm, which I've never done and don't want to do. So and they get this guy who's got a little bit more chops together, and he plays one song. Then typical drummer thing, get all nervous. He hasn't played in a while. He plays the song too fast, and the singer's yelling, "It's a ballad! It's a ballad!" And he plays it way too fast, but
it becomes a
huge hit. So once again, the drummer's always right. And so it is just a great movie from start to finish. It's a really good flick, and they go from one-hit wonders to pretty much to nothing. I mean, overnight they went from nothing to one-hit wonders to basically back to that and nothing again.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just a very well done movie, and kudos to
love
Tom
it.
Hanks.
I love that. It's on my
really good movie.
It's on my honorable mention, by the way. But go ahead.
Heavy metal, I know, is on a lot of lists, but it did make mine just due to the fact that when I was a kid, I remember sneaking down.
Doesn't count. It's not about a band.
You really don't want to let me count
It's a great movie. I love that movie, and the music is so important in that movie, and it did a lot for those songs. Some of the songs became big hits because of that movie.
Yeah,
but it's not really about a band. But go ahead. He's breaking the rules.
All right, I'm going to skip it then.
That's okay.
No, let's go.
It's a great movie. I love it.
It was the first time I seen a cartoon where a girl was naked, and I was like,
dude, I got some funny stories about it. I'll tell Willie Franklin's story about that later. Because that's who I saw it with. I saw it in the theater with Willie Franklin. All
right, another one I'm going to go to is more of like a, about one artist, and it's just a good flick overall. Is Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix, Reese Witherspoon. It's a good, well-acted movie, I think, and the actors are actually singing their parts. It's not like they're being singing to a track or something. It's just a well-done movie about Johnny Cash's life, seeing what a rock star he was back in the day. So that's a movie that I think should definitely be on some lists.
What about this one? But go ahead. Now, gotta keep going in your list. I forgot about it till just now, because what you just said reminded me of this one. But that is a good film. I didn't put it on my list, Keith. Let me tell you why it's not on my list, because I know Johnny Cash influenced a lot of rock artists.
He did.
But I was just more thinking. My thinking was more. Because then if you're gonna put, then you're gonna put Ray.
You're gonna put Ray because it's like it's the same movie with a black guy and a white guy. That's all it is. And Ray is walking around with a black.
That's
Ray,
a great movie.
Jamie Foxx is great in Ray.
That's a great movie.
That's a great movie too.
Go ahead, give your list.
One that I think don't get enough, but maybe people just overlook, the Blues Brothers. It's about a band. It's a
Again, I would have been on my list, but it's
killer
not
movie.
really. It's a great. John Landis. I mean, it's amazing.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's just entertaining. I mean, come on, when they walk up to that gig and he's like chicken wire. I mean,
and so right, and so many.
And they're great musicians. All great musicians playing those roles.
And there's so many iconic things. Like, what kind of music do you have? We got both kinds, country and western.
Yeah,
and the chicken wire and all that.
Chicken wire.
Those are all like things that became sort of like rock or like musician cliches or jokes when you go to gigs. You know, if they have chicken wire up here. I mean, those are the kind. So it is a great film, and it probably should have made my list too. But again, I was thinking more straight rock and not as much blues and R&B. But that's good. It's all good, guys.
I'm just going with good.
Yeah,
good
you
movies,
go.
Man.
This is why everybody's allowed to have their expression, and I'm loving what you're saying.
One thing about the Blues Brothers I don't understand at the end, when they did the huge sold out event, they did like 2 tunes and they were gone. I mean, how do you get paid for that gig, man? Seriously,
I know.
where can I get that gig when you do 2 songs?
Well, they were being chased.
Yeah, well,
by the cops.
I've never had that happen either. So I mean,
go ahead. What's your list?
All right. So the next one we're gonna have is. Let's see here. I mentioned Purple Rain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said,
it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Prince is a genius. I mean, but the acting's not really good in that movie, but the movie itself.
But it was it had a theatrical release. It's more than just a concert film. Plus, it's got a lot of other cool people in it too. It's got Morris Day in the Time. It's got like some very cool stuff in it.
All right, and then
Jesse, now Jerome.
Yeah. Somebody bring me a mirror. All right.
Awesome.
One movie that I think gets overlooked that wasn't. It's not about a band that I really don't really not into, but it's I've seen it a few times. It's well acted, and it's The Runaways. It's a very good flick. It's actually, if you watch the movie, Kristen Stewart actually is Joan Jett. She became Joan Jett in that movie, and it got Lita Ford and Cherie Curry, and it's just a good movie.
I had forgotten about it. It is a good movie. Yeah, it's on my.
It's not my bag musically, but I mean it's well acted.
Yeah, well done.
And it's a well done flick about their coming up as pretty much.
Okay, where are you at now? You in your top 3 yet?
Yeah.
Go ahead, hit it.
All right, this is Spinal Tap. I mean, it has to be on everybody's list.
Okay.
And my number 1 best movie of all time is and this is no joke. This is the number 1 rock and roll flick ever. Almost Famous.
Well, we said we reached your top 3. Oh, the 3 was The Runaways.
Yeah.
This is Spinal Tap, and Almost Famous is your number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. I think your list sucks. No, I'm kidding. It's very good. And you got me thinking about a lot of movies and stuff that I should have included. I forgot to include. Before I say my top 10, I just want to run down my honorable mentions real quick. Across the Universe, Cadillac Records, I'm Not There, School of Rock, Eddie and the Cruisers, Sid and Nancy. You ever seen Sid and Nancy? It's cool. Gary Oldman.
Nancy dies in the end.
It's very cool. Year of the Horse, which is a movie about Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Light of Day, which we talked about. That Thing You Do. Keith and I both love that movie. I love that movie. Airheads, which is a really it's about a band, and it's funny and goofy, and it deserves a little nod. Some Kind of Monster. About Metallica. I think it's like a very cool film. But
concert footage in that one, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of concert footage, but it's a lot of them sort of exploring their
breaking the rules.
But exactly. But it's a lot of them exploring their demons and stuff like that. It was kind of cool.
Demons are right.
La Bamba.
La Bamba was on one of my. I just didn't get to enough. It's a Buddy Holly story.
The Buddy Holly story is on mine.
Those are like all to me lumped together, kind of like Ray and Walk the Line. Those are very well acted movies. And Gary Busey is awesome in Buddy Holly story, and so is Lou Diamond Phillips as Richie Valens.
Absolutely, it's great.
Awesome. Those are great movies.
And Los Lobos did a great job doing the Richie Valens music.
Los Lobos is a killer band.
Great band. Yeah. The Ruddles. Great film. Really hilarious. Dig. If you've never seen Dig, I highly recommend you see Dig. It might still be on Netflix. Very cool film about the Bryan Jonestown massacre and these guys and how they have a very tempestuous relationship with each other. It's very crazy and weird and funny. I highly recommend it. Hedwig and the Angry Itch, Still Crazy, which has won a lot of awards in Europe. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Now, again,
thank you for coming, everyone, and we're going to talk to you next week. Goodbye.
It's a dumb movie,
Yes.
and even Gene Simmons talks about it in his book about how stupid it was. But it is kind of like, it was a big thing in the 70s because Kiss did it. So I had to kind of say something about it. Of course, the Blues Brothers and the Runaways. Now, let me go ahead and give you my real list, okay? Starting... Drum roll from the drummer, please. Okay, starting with the top... Now, I do have a kind of... in order thing. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. Number 10, Rockstar.
No, that's a good one.
I really like that movie. Probably my favorite movie with Jennifer Aniston ever. But it's a really good, and I thought that it's a kind of a nod to what happened to Ripper Owens a little bit. A little bit of a sort of nod to that, you know. It's got some great people in it. Jason Bonham is in it. It's a very, very cool film. It's funny. It's heartbreaking. It's kind of inspirational. It has you know what I mean? It has a kind of ambiguous kind of ending. It's very cool.
And Mark Wahlberg, since the days of the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, has become a really good actor.
Yeah, he's decent. He's very solid. I mean, he's not Robert De Niro, but it's a cool
No,
film.
but he's a good actor. I mean, he's come along pretty good. And
it's very relatable,
can
you know.
feel the vibration, is all I can say.
Yeah, and there's a cool love story thing in there. Purple Rain, which I'm not going to get too far into, but one of my all-time favorite movies, very influential movie for me.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah, great soundtrack. Every song is like amazing, you
Yeah,
know.
it's Prince, people. Come on.
And Prince kind of tells a little bit of his story in it. And there's some Apollonia gets naked. You see him. There's amazing blums.
There's some, you know.
Exactly. I put these two together. I cheated. The Decline of Western Civilization 1 and 2.
Those are documentaries.
Yeah, we can put documentaries on here.
This is some horse manure.
I said documentaries should be allowed on. They're real films. They have theatrical releases, and they're like huge underground classics. And they really give the underbelly of both of those scenes, the hardcore punk scene in the late 70s and early 80s, and the metal scene, and they're heartbreaking and disturbing and weird. And if you have not seen those movies, I highly recommend that you watch them. The third one didn't really rattle my cage as much.
Okay. I will agree with... I've seen... I think
that they're good. I mean, you can not like it's cool.
No, it's fine. Your list doesn't suck. I wouldn't shame you like that, like you did to me. So, yes, you said my list sucked.
I did not
yes,
say. I never.
Somebody rewind the freaking tape, please. Rewind the tape. Is that the one part in Decline in the part one where the guitar player from Wasp is sitting in a pool just downing vodka like it's water, and his mother is sitting there staring at him?
It's in part 2, Metal Years.
Yeah, that's some funny, like, but sad.
The first one has some really disturbing stuff. There's a guy that comes to a party and he dies, and they all stand around and get their pictures taken. I mean, there's some weird, effed up stuff. It's a very... If you have not seen those movies, I highly recommend you see 1 and 2. The Pick of Frickin' Destiny. It's a fictional band. I get it, but it is absolutely side-splittingly hilarious.
Yes.
Dave Grohl plays the devil.
Yes.
I mean, like, you know, it's crazy, effed up, insane, funny, fun. And Jack Black is like, and he actually sang. Those guys made that music, you know. So,
yeah, a lot of people, you know, can say whatever they want about like the Tenacious D stuff. They're actually really good.
Yeah, there's a great video of like it's Velvet Revolver and some other people, and Jack Black. It's his birthday. He gets up on stage and he sings the Immigrant Song, and it's a shame because it's not a good recording, but he freaking nails it. He's on his knees. He's doing the. I mean, like he's amazing.
A funny dude.
If he wasn't like a comedian, he probably could have made it in the music business. But in any case, Hard Day's Night.
I forgot that one.
That is, I know. So that's how this goes.
And number 5 was on my list too, but I was a little bit.
I have to say, I mean, because it's the Beatles, and I had to put some Beatles thing on there. I didn't put Across the Universe.
Oh.
I couldn't put Across the Universe and not put Hard Day's Night on, so I had to kind of do that. You have Rockstar. What do you say? Were you pointing to Rockstar? What are you pointing to?
Not right there.
What's Backbeat?
Backbeat.
Okay, Keith, just wait a minute. For those of you who are listening and can't see what we're doing, he wrote down Backbeat. What's Backbeat?
Backbeat is a very low budget sort of movie which has no one I've ever seen. Steven Dorff's in it. If you know who that is.
Yeah, I know he's. Yeah.
It basically shows the early years of the Beatles playing in Germany, some of the really crappy clubs in Liverpool. It shows the band as a 5-piece with Stuart Sutcliffe, Pete Best on the drums.
Ah.
And it shows what happened before they actually were, the Beatles. It's not a really well done movie. But
Is that the movie where at the end they bring in Ringo Starr and the guy, and some people are going, Pete is best.
Yeah.
And then he starts playing.
Yeah.
I've seen that. It's on TV like when I was like 12.
You can watch it on YouTube for free. That's how.
Wow! I forgot about that movie.
It shows Stuart Sutcliffe he falls for this photographer chick and Paul McCartney's constantly on John Lennon. There's John Lennon and Stuart Sutcliffe were tight, man.
Yeah.
They were best friends, and Paul just kept at him because Paul's playing guitar at that point, just taking a back seat. And there's a lot of scenes in the movie where John Lennon is like, Paul, I know you're a better bass player, but that's my boy. That kind of thing.
I haven't seen it in years, man.
It's not a well-acted movie. There's some parts you're just really? But it's a movie, if you're talking about the Beatles, that's a movie that will never crack my top 10, but it's a little, maybe, if you are really hardcore into the Beatles and haven't seen it, give it a shot.
We are just prattling on here. I'm going to do my top, because that was 10 through 6. I'm going to do my top 5 when we come back. I'm going to play another band. This is a band called Snakehead Ritual. Mama.
A repeat offender here.
A repeat offender.
Yes, they've been on here before.
We have played them before. Check them out. Mama by Snakehead Ritual on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus.
Sounds like the hell is that band? It was really not big, but it was they sounded really good live. I heard. What the hell was that band? They had that song The Oath back in the day. Remember The Oath?
Oh, I like that band.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're from Canada. I gotta Google it. The Oath. I love that band.
They had a ton of albums, but it never really broke.
They never really broke.
They were really bring. They were kind of Zeppelin.
Yeah, I think they could play too well for grunge.
Yeah, they were way better players. The one dude, gotta find the name of the band.
Not the old one.
The old one. They were very Zeppelin-y, but they were just you could think
Big Wreck.
Yeah.
Big Wreck.
That sounds like Big Wreck. Big Wreck was in town not too long ago. Rick Theater. And I was tickets were probably $10.
We probably could have got front row to that show.
Yeah, really.
I was gonna insert a sound effect, but I couldn't think when to do it. I have farts and all that. Guitar sound. I think these guys rock, dude. These kick ass. What do you think, Samantha? She's checking up on you, make sure you're not fucking around. What's up, David? What are you guys drinking?
Miz is drinking that Coors Light.
Coors Light? Who's drinking Coors Light?
Or Summer Shandy. Anything that's something I don't like to drink. She knows I'll drink it all up.
Oh, right. I really like tried to spend a lot of time thinking about this today. What's up, Samantha? The lovely and talented Samantha Hawkins.
She is talented. She wants to be. There's a girl we dated for 2 years and she told me she couldn't cook.
I get snare. Looks like a little bit of, at least some ring.
Like that?
You like that? Sort of ring sort of sound?
Depends on how much ring there is. If it's just like a minimal kind of thing, you know.
Well, I know some guys like, ding, ding, like that. No,
I
not
don't like that. Like Lars on,
Saint Anger?
Saint Anger, that's it.
I forget who it was. I went to see somebody, they had a piccolo snare. It was like, ding, 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 ding. All the time it was like that. When you do the snare, do you like try to hit with the rim too? Or do you just hit the snare?
It depends on the kind of music I'm playing. If I'm playing like, you know, the stuff in church, like a gospel kind of backbeat sort of funk stuff,
Yeah.
I will play like a rim shot or a crossfade. I can't be super loud there.
What I'm talking about is when you hit the rim and the snare at the same time.
Yeah, I can
Like a
I
big
can-
toss.
Yeah, I like to play like that, or I'll depends on like again. If I'm playing a tune like if I was playing like Back in Black, I would hit the middle of the drum. If I was playing something that needs a little bit.
What's your favorite drum sound? Like on a song or like on an album?
Well, I can put a bunch of stuff together because I like the way.
I have a couple. One or two. They don't have to be your absolute favorite. It's whatever comes to mind.
The drum sound on every Zeppelin record is killer.
Yeah, me too. John Bonham is right.
Yeah. Drum sound on Soundgarden Super Unknown I really like.
Okay, I have to go back and see it again.
The kick drum sound is going to be totally random. The kick drum sound, the sound of the bass drum on the song, give them something to talk about. My Born and Raised, it's amazing.
I can listen to it.
It's the bass drum sound, it's amazing.
Do you like a bigger boomy kind of bass drum or like
Yeah,
more
yeah.
or more beater type sound?
I don't like that clicky sound.
Like a lot of metal.
I hate that.
Like if they had just
Yeah. I was never a big fan of Alex Van Halen's drum sound. I never thought that like I'm saying that he can't tune them well or play well or anything.
His sound changed a bit. Like if you listen to like I'll Wait and those songs, it's got that big ringy
Yeah.
kind of sound. But then later on, they changed. So his sound
Yeah,
more
it sounded a
that.
little bit more compact.
Yeah.
A little bit more dead.
Or like make it work. We're just bullshitting by drum sounds. Talk amongst yourselves. Tell your mama.
Tell her.
That's Mama by
That's rocking. That's
with
totally
Snake and
rocking.
Ritual. That's just a great band. This band is from okay, Keith, let me ask you a trivia question.
Oh, wow.
This band's from Toledo, Ohio.
Okay.
What very famous television character was famously from Toledo? No Googling. No Googling out there in Google land.
Venus Flytrap.
Close.
Johnny Fever. Les Nessman. They're from Cincinnati. You know where? WKRP in Cincinnati. You like my voice?
I love it.
Awesome.
Corporal Klinger from MASH. He
How
was
the hell
always
doesn't
talking.
know that?
I know you're too young. You're too young to remember.
I'm not that young.
But like he always talked about Toledo, and he was from Toledo, and a very famous actor. The actor wasn't from Toledo, but the character was. So I don't know why that means anything at all. But anyway, so guys, you are listening to the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi. We've got Keith Hawkins in the co-pilot's chair. So here goes. All right, here's the top 5. I did try to put these in order of like, I don't know, kind of what rang my bell, what I thought was great. So number 5, The Story of Anvil.
That's a great movie.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
But triumphant, and like it's got like a lot of like great emotions, and it's a good movie. like I don't know who the director is, but it's a really good film. And if you haven't ever seen it, even if you're not a big metal fan or whatever, you can relate to the people and what they go through and the struggles. Very cool.
If you play gigs and you're like a working musician, just watch it because this is it, man. This is the life they lead.
Yep. Almost Famous. I love that movie.
It's great.
Especially when Billy Crudup is standing on the roof and goes, "I am a golden god." And he jumps into the swimming pool.
I never said I was a golden god.
I never said that.
Or did I?
Or did I? And that Jason Lee and him are like having this fight.
All those guys are great now.
And it is a great... Cameron Crowe did a great job of capturing the 70s, with not just with the music that the band is playing, but like the Tiny Dancer song by Elton John. I mean, there's so many great things about it, and it's about a band.
The busing.
And everything about it is just amazing. There's nothing great. I mean, there's nothing, it's just it's a great film. It's a great music film. It's about a band. Everything about it's cool. And
I think it should be.
Kate, what's her name? Kate
Hudson looks pretty good.
Yeah,
movie, yeah.
Great. The Doors is on my number 3. I know Keith has it more of as an honorable mention. I think it's a great film about that period of time as like Almost Famous. What is that? Who is that? Coppola or Scorsese? Who directed that? It's
The Doors.
The Doors.
I think it's Oliver Stone, man.
Oliver Stone. I'm sorry. It's an Oliver Stone film, so it's got great direction, great acting. I know he didn't get all the little nuances exactly right, but as Keith pointed out earlier, he got like Densmore.
But yeah, to me,
so
that's
they did
funny,
some
man.
research
That's funny,
into
but it's because it's like it's true how that is.
It's wildly entertaining. The music is awesome. It's really trippy. If you like to partake of that thing that grows out of the ground that you roll up in a little thing and smoke, it is one of those movies that's very good for doing that with. I also need to say that it's just personally one of my favorite movies of all time. Now, the top 2. Here we go. Are you ready? Excited? The Wall. I gotta put The Wall. The Wall is one of my favorite movies of all time.
All
It
right.
is about a band.
It is.
Pinky is a musician in the band, but he's singing Roger Waters and David Gilmour songs. It is well acted. It's trippy. It's weird. It's dark. It's twisted, and it kind of makes you. Greg, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for watching. And it's a song. The movie's a commentary on society and what society does to people and their creativity, and there's a lot of cool stuff about it. It's powerful. And if you've never seen it, you've been living under a rock. And of course, Pink Floyd does all the music to it. That's my number 2. And my number 1 is This Is Spinal Tap. Are you ready for my diatribe? Guys, get ready. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can because we've been here for like 7 hours already. But This Is Spinal Tap. This is why This Is Spinal Tap, I think, is the greatest rock movie of all time. Okay, number 1. Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner is a brilliant director. Brilliant.
He is. He's a meathead, but he's
freaking brilliant.
He's a meathead, though.
Okay, that's number 1.
That's number 1.
Number 2. The movie is almost all improvised. They kind of said, do something like this here.
That's awesome.
And they did it. Okay, number 2. That's number 2. Number 3. They became a real band afterwards. They went out on tour, and they played shows, and people loved it.
Yep.
I mean, they went on Saturday Night Live as the band Spinal Tap. I mean, they really took it to a whole nother level. So I don't know of another movie
Big Bottom
where the band was fictional and then they became real and went out and played gigs. I'm not sure if there is another one. There may be another one, but I can't think of one. It is absolutely side-splittingly hilarious. It's just like The Pick of Destiny. It's just a total comedy.
Funny
You will
movie.
laugh. You'll laugh till you cry. Speaking of crying, it's also tragic. You get caught up in these characters. When David St. Hubbins and Nigel Tufnell kind of break up, you feel crappy about it. You're like, this sucks, man. And you get totally caught up in it. When David's girlfriend shows up, you've got that sinking feeling like, oh God, it's all going to go to crap now.
This can't be good.
This can't be good. You get in, so it's amazingly done. It is the first, it is the movie that if you're, I mean, now those are all things. If you're not a musician, you're going to totally appreciate no matter what. But if you're a musician, there's a whole other level to this movie. There's like a subtext to this movie, like all the crazy stuff, like the wireless not working in the airplane. I mean, that happens, and because of that type of stuff, guys, the phrase "spinal tap moment" has been coined in so many music, and I've had we've all had spinal tap moments on stage. You know, I remember playing in a band, and we were doing Modern Day Cowboy by Tesla. We were really good. We could nail that song, and our drummer turns at the end. There's the big gong, and he turns around and hits that gong, and he falls right off his drum throat and tumbles off the stage.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Spinal tap moment. You know, I remember one time.
I did just buy that gong for that one song.
Yeah, he brought the gong for the one song. I remember one time I jumped off the stage. I was rocking out, and I didn't realize I had a cord that was only about 3 feet long. Here comes all my amps with me, you know. So real things like that happen. It is the movie also that started the phrase or created the word rockumentary. In the beginning of the movie, Rob Reiner says, this is a documentary, or if you will, rockumentary. And after that, the word rockumentary became in the lexicon of music. And I could go on and on and on. But there's a gazillion amazing things about this movie. If you get it on DVD or Blu-ray, there is almost an entire other movie of special features that are hilarious. They just couldn't squeeze them into an hour and a half, 2 hour
All
movie.
them guys who played, they're all funny.
They can all play.
And they all play.
They all sang, absolutely. And the drummer
blows up.
blows up or dies. They're always in front of the. I mean, that's just like one of those things that, like, if you're in a band, you're like, you know, it's like, you know. So this is why I think This Is Spinal Tap is the consummate rock movie that all others need to bow down to and wish they were as good as. That's just my opinion. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. What do you think?
That's a great pick. Let us know. Facebook us. Let us know what you think. What is your favorite movie, rock style, of all time? I mean, just let us know. Don't have to be in any particular order. I don't have mine in any particular order, so it was just fun to belt them out. And
just have a good time.
Have a good time with it. And that's what this show's about. It's about fun, having a good time, and, you know, just connecting with the musicians.
Hey, Danny, thanks for chiming in, buddy.
People out there.
Yeah.
Everybody loves music. If you don't, please don't watch ever again.
Yeah, because like, this is really all about music.
You're wasting your time.
Exactly. Guys, you've been listening to Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. Sitting next to me in the co-pilot chair today is Keith
Today,
Keith is my co-pilot.
You know, whenever Tilla Lou kicks me out, you can call me the Hawk or Keith or, you know, Shithead, whatever you want to do. And
why don't I love my favorite thing to call you
is
Hair Metal Hank.
Hair Metal Hank will be back. He's on tour right now with Crocus and Blues for Cult. So he'll be back in a few weeks. And maybe we do something else that like calls for like a celebrity appearance.
We need a celebrity appearance
because Hair Metal Hank will be back because he's still hanging around.
You know,
he's just roadieing around.
I recently got serious again, and I've been listening to Ozzy's Boneyard. That's my favorite station on there, and they play Crocus, and they play a lot of. I mean,
I didn't know you ever weren't serious.
I love I
thought you were like always serious.
I liked their sound because they had a little more rougher, almost AC/DC-ish edge.
Yeah,
but they weren't quite like the Quiet Riot or Poison.
Thank God.
What do you think of Crocus? I mean, you know,
I don't think of them at all.
You don't really think about them.
No, I know my buddy Hair Metal Hank is on tour with them because
Screaming in the Night.
He doesn't
Eat
know
the
what
Rich.
else.
I like the
He doesn't know what else to do with himself. He's 175. He's been on tour.
Really?
You know, he opened for. He was a musician back in the day, and he opened for Abe Lincoln
before
the Gettysburg Address. He was the opening act.
Did he know that about the whole vampire slayer, Abe Lincoln?
That's none of your business.
Guys, listen. Any announcements you want to make, Keith?
My band, the Honey Riders. I forget which band I'm in every week. The Honey Riders are playing at the Doystown Music Festival, July 15th. We're at the Penn Brewery stage, 9 o'clock. Be there, and maybe you could win autograph from Hair Metal Hank.
Hank Metal Hair. Guys, I'm going to be at Theater for the Arts in Philadelphia on the 7th, or excuse me, on the 6th with Supervana tribute, Nirvana tribute, and then we're going to be the next night on the 7th. We're going to be at Galifty's Down Under in Harrisburg. So you can catch me on a little tour there, Philly. Our Philly and Harrisburg fans, you can check us out. And I'll come, and if you're happy to sign any autographs you want, is Loudini. And that's pretty much what's going on with me for right now. Guys, you've been listening to Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. The website is loudinirockandrollcircus.com. And doing tons of interviews. So there's a lot. And that the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus interview series, guys, is a little more eclectic. So if you have a little more of a eclectic type tastes, you can hear artists with a wide-ranging jazz people and blues people. I interviewed a young lady from Nashville today, Sam. Her name was Sam Rochford, and she's a great sort of like Americana singer-songwriter type artist. So if you have a little kind of expanded tastes, you definitely want to check that out. But the replays of Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus are always there. It's loudinirockandrollcircus.com. One more shout out to our sponsor, Positively Pittsburgh Live magazine, pplmag.com, and rest in peace, Joanne Quinn Smith, who was instrumental in making all of this happen for us. Anyways, guys, we're going to get the living heck out of here. This was a super fun podcast, man. I mean, this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a long time.
I loved it.
I really did.
I don't know what else to say. I'm speechless.
I feel sated.
For once.
Yeah.
I am actually... I lost for words. I'm a loss of words, and I want you all out there to just have a good weekend, what's remaining of it, and go watch some rock movies, man. Or just listen to music in general.
Yeah.
Man, come on.
Yeah.
You're really not that busy.
You're not that busy. You can listen to music.
Music is your life.
And if you can't listen to music, just blame it on the boom boom. We're gonna rock out with some Blackstone Cherry on the way out of here, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Talk to you soon.